Can you guys see me online? Tell me you can see me. Yay! Surprise, I'm here. Happy almost full moon. It's not quite, and my apologies for that. In my non-Sage Goddess world, I'm a mother of two, and I'm throwing a party for my neighborhood tomorrow for back to school. Seemed like a really great idea, and the date seemed really convenient until I looked at the witch's calendar, like all good moms do, and noticed that it's also the full moon. Whoops. So here we had invited everybody and their mother, and they'd all said they were coming, and then I realized I couldn't be in two places at once. Yet I'm working on it. The clone is not functional yet, but I am working on it, as are many of you, I'm sure. Anyway, that is the pure joy of being both a mother and somebody who works, right? We make it happen. Okay, so welcome, and happy full moon in Pisces. We haven't had a full moon in Pisces in a little while. Anybody a Pisces? I love my Pisces. My daughter's a Pisces. And you've heard many stories about my daughter. They keep us all sane because they're in a happier place. Do you know what I mean? I just came back from Maui yesterday, so I'm a little jet lagged, and I'm still on island time, and I wish I had less clothing on. And you know what's funny is I was in Maui, and it was 100 degrees and 100% humidity. I don't know if you've ever experienced that before. It's not attractive, okay? It's very hard to be goddessy when it is 1,000 degrees outside. But it was absolutely enchanting. I mean, Maui, Hawaii, the Hawaiian island chain and that entire Hawaiian ridge is part of the birthplace of our civilization, so we magical people believe. As the legend goes, Hawaii and that entire region, which takes up also Fiji, Tonga, and all the way down to New Zealand, was originally part of a continent called Mu. Mu means mother, and there is geological evidence on the bottom of the ocean that suggests that that civilization did in fact descend underwater. Many of us perhaps spent many, many lifetimes in Mu. When I go there, I feel like I'm truly going home. It was hard to leave yesterday. One day we'll talk about all of that, different time. But if you sense me being a little still on island time, I'm still very much in aloha mode, and it's hard to like, it's 6 o'clock, I have to be somewhere, because that's not how Hawaii works. That's gratefully not how Hawaii works. But I'm sharing that with you a little bit because when I was there, all my daughter wanted to do was put mermaid fins on. If you're friends with me on Facebook, you saw that situation. It was not cheap, let me tell you. And how do you tell them no? Like, sorry, you can't have that mermaid fin. So of course she got the mermaid fin. The whole time I'm thinking like, I'm gonna be eating top ramen for the rest of our vacation. But it was very cute. And so she's in the pool. She has Leo rising, and this is how I know. So a Pisces, a normal Pisces, would be in the pool with their fin and would just be enjoying it in their own happy place. My Pisces with Leo rising was swimming around the whole pool going, hey, I'm a mermaid, look. Look, did you see? Oh, and my tail, it's pink. Did you see? And so she kept going up to people, and a lot of people there don't speak English because people come to Hawaii from all over the world. So she came up to me and she said, those people over there weren't looking at my fin, and so I'm just going to start screaming it louder because I don't think they heard me. And so she's screaming, look at my fin. And they're looking at her like she's insane, right? And she didn't care because Pisces she was in a dream state. I mean, that was like, for her, that was, there may not be a more treasured moment in her life than being able to put on a mermaid fin. But she was in Lemuria as a mermaid, and that was very magical for her. So we need Pisces, especially we fire signs need Pisces because you bring the imagination. Wherever you are right now is a better place than where I am. Like wherever in your imagination you're living in this moment is happier, I guarantee you, than wherever I am. And they are the dreamers, you know, they hold the dream. So part of what you experience in a full moon in Pisces is the ability to keep that daydream alive. What are you daydreaming about right now? I ask you that question because that's the question of the full moon in Pisces. What are you daydreaming about? When you drift off at work and your mind just goes somewhere and you have to snap yourself back. Do you know what I mean? Happens to me a lot. Fortunately, doing that's part of my job, but you know, I get paid to do that. But when you snap back, like, where were you? There's always a message for you there. And Pisces never get too old to do that, and they don't think it's a waste of time. Because when they're daydreaming, what are they doing? They're coming up with everything, you know? But I was telling a story once where my son, who's an Aries, and my daughter, who's a Pisces, were fighting because that's what they do. And she was saying, you know, Nick, I believe in the zombies, and I believe in the fairies, and I believe in the aliens, and I believe in the dinosaurs. And he's looking at her like, okay, wow. And she's like, I just believe in everything. So thank you, Pisces, for believing in everything. And this moon for you is about believing in everything. I hope you take the next 24 hours and just let yourself believe in everything. Just for a moment. Wouldn't our world be a better place if people believed in everything? Mm-hmm. I'm still believing because I'm experiencing aloha still. Okay. So that is the moon for tonight and what you can be expecting from the energy of that moon. Let's bring it down to what the subject is for tonight. So this is a very important 3 weeks. I want you to think of time for now from September 1st, which is Tuesday, through to the 23rd. So it's 3 weeks and 2 days, okay? This is a portal, and it's the same every year. When people talk about harvest, they talk about fall equinox, right? They focus really specifically on that one day, which is September 23rd this year is Mabon. There are 3 harvests. Did you know that? There are 3 in the Celtic pagan calendar. The first is Lammas on August 1st. And Lammas is ruled by Ceres, the goddess Ceres. And she is the mother goddess of the first harvest. And she's the gentlest of the 3 harvest goddesses, okay? They get successively different. So Ceres comes along and she's like, oh, look, it's the first harvest of wheat, and we need to be grateful and also release the bounty of the crops that did not, survive into the year. That's Ceres. She's very beautiful and very maternal and think the Empress card in the tarot, right? She's very gentle. And then September 23rd, Mabon is ruled by Ceridwen, who is the goddess of the cauldron of wisdom, okay? And she's the accountant, okay? So Ceridwen says, hey, so this much survived, you did well on this, you didn't do so well on that. If you had done this better, there would have been more of that. And so it's a little bit harsher of it. It's not Ceres saying, oh, everything just was how it needed to be. Ceridwen's like, well, how did you do? And so that September 23rd, for me, always is a little bit of a challenge, because it's like, how did you do? I mean, what's happening in your life right now is the culmination of everything you've been building since January 1st. And if you're not happy with where you are right now, you have one person to thank for that, according to the work that I do. It becomes a mirror for you. And so the third harvest is when? Does anybody know? Samhain. Samhain or Samhain, both are correct pronunciations. Samhain. Let me tell you how you don't pronounce it, is Samhain. Please don't do that. If you do that, just don't tell anybody that you come to my rituals. Don't do that. It looks like that. That's not how you say it. It's cute. And people always come to me when they say, oh, I'm so excited about Samhain, and then they see my face and they're like, I mean, the thing, the S1, the Halloween, the thing. It's fine. People are laughing at the feed. It's okay if you did it before, but now you know better. Oprah says when you know better, you do better, or whatever, Maya Angelou. So now you know better, you're going to do better. No more Samhain. But Samhain is the third harvest. I'm glad I'm making you laugh. No bueno is right. You gotta, there's a magical vocabulary, friends, and it takes a little while to master it. Samhain is the third harvest, and it is ruled by who? Hecate. Hecate. Not He-Cat. Or He-Kate. Hecate. So the third harvest is about, it's the final harvest, it's the final accounting, and it's about the dying back phase of harvest to prepare for us to go into the season of rest. Okay? And so the power of Hecate, and she's a powerful goddess. She's not one you use lightly. I have a Hecate perfume, and I had women last year saying, oh, it's just so beautiful, I wear it as my daily perfume, and I'm thinking, like, yikes, that is not a daily perfume. Perhaps. It's like wearing Morgana every day. I don't know that I would do that. She's a strong one. Somebody said the S gets real with Hecate, and it does get real with Hecate. That's right. So what she represents is she literally stands at the doorway between the living and the dead. Hecate does. And that's a powerful place to be. She's very much a shaman, a priestess. I mean, she's very powerful. So that's why I said they get successively stronger. I'm taking your time to tell you all of this before tonight's ritual because guess what? It's related, okay? I'm talking to you tonight about fate. How many goddesses in Greek mythology are associated with fate? 3, okay? How many goddesses are represented by the 3 triple phases of the moon? Right? 3. Part of my passion, I have a background in the history of Western civilization, but I'm also trained as a Wiccan high priestess. I don't practice Wicca anymore, but I'm trained in that way, in that line. And I'm also Greek by birth lineage. Part of my passion is to weave a thread for you, and I'm using that word really deliberately because guess what the fates do? They weave the fabric of your life, okay? So in Greek mythology, there are 3 fates, and I'm going to talk to you about them, and you can actually plot them. You can map the 3 fates to the 3 harvest goddesses, and that's exactly what they are. The 3rd fate cuts the thread of your life, and she's in charge of your death, and that is very much who Hecate is. Okay? Isn't it fascinating? Right? I mean, I get chills kind of when I think about all this because so much, I don't know about you, but I was raised in kind of a limiting set of spiritual beliefs, and the idea was that it's all so different, you know? Oh, they're all so different doing whatever they do over there, and then those other people over there, you know, with the weird whatever on their face, they're so different. They do things so differently than you. And then those other people over there who have, you know, black clothes on and celebrate Halloween, they're so different from us, you know? And it's like, if you really pull back the curtain, and I only know what I know. I mean, I've been doing this a long, long time. I'm 42 and I've been doing it for more than half my life. But I only know what I know. People who have been studying this much longer than I have will tell you that it keeps unfolding. I mean, it just keeps unfolding. The more you dig, the more you find, which is why spirituality never gets old for me. And hopefully it won't for you. I think when you're done learning, you transition. Yeah? Okay. So tonight we're going to be working with the harvest goddesses just a little, because on September 23rd I'm also doing live ritual for Mabon, so I hope you can join me for that too. That'll be here in the shop and also online. That's going to be big because we actually are going to be summoning the 3 goddesses. I don't know what's going to happen. Some are more easily summonable than others. Yeah. We'll start with series and we'll work our way up, right? It'll be an interesting evening as it evolves. So we're going to be really focusing on them and their energy then, but we're going to be tying the fates with the 3 harvest goddesses because that's the time of year. What you need to know about tonight, and these are the tools, your past candle, your present candle, and your future candle. I put mine on a little plate. If you don't have a plate, I'd like you to just hold yours when the time comes. And we'll light it together, we'll do the work, we'll extinguish it, blow it out together, and then you can pick up the second one when we get there. You don't have to have a holder. People are saying online there's a funky sound, so hopefully... Do I have a helper in the room? In the back of the room? Monica or hopefully one of my social friends sees there. Okay, good. I am here. One of the goddesses is here, and they will help us figure out our funky... They say I sound like a robot. I don't even know what to tell you about that. No one's really ever told me that before. Okay, so I'm going to keep talking in robot voice. Maybe I'll pause for just a minute. Does anybody in the room have questions? No? No questions? Okay. Does anybody online have questions? Hecate's playing with me. Very funny. Caridwen put me in her cauldron and is spinning me around. It's getting better? Okay. Yay, is that good? It's clearing up. Somebody asked me about my ring. It is not tree agate, it's turquoise. Thank you for noticing it. I acquired part of a collection of jewelry that is Hopi and Navajo. And these are 2 of the pieces from that particular collector, or that person whose collection was dissolved as part of an estate. Very powerful stuff. As soon as I put it on, I kind of couldn't take it off. So it's kind of beautiful. Thank you for noticing. Okay. So let's, with no further ado, what I'm going to do first is smudge a little. Can I show you my shell? Isn't she beautiful? Mm-hmm. Isn't she amazing? Yeah. Very magical indeed. I couldn't resist. There's some times where you see something and aren't there amazing artists in the world? Do you ever stop to think about it? Like, who is that person who looked at that shell and thought, I see a face there, and could actually bring that to life? I mean, I'm amazed. I'm constantly amazed at what happens, what comes through people when they honor their craft. It's very, very powerful. So I'm just smudging all my tools. You need to smudge a lot at the full moon, like 3 times a day. All the smudge all the time. You need to do it. Smudging is good for you. I don't know if you saw that article that came out about how it clears bacteria in the air. Turns out our native friends knew more than we give them credit for sometimes. White sage seeds are very magical. On reservation land, they're used. They use the whole plant, and so they actually steep the leaves to make a tea, which is very healing for colds and flu. And then they take the actual white sage seeds, and if you have anything in your eye, they put the seed into the eye and have you close your eye. The seed absorbs any debris or anything that's inside the eye. You open your eye and the seed pops out, and it takes with it anything that was stuck inside of the eye. So literally, as with most plants that are used for native medicine, the entire plant is used, nothing is wasted. And then if it gets too dry to use, they smudge. So good, right? So good. Sage is amazing. What's really funny is it's a weed, but try to grow it. Yeah. You know, it's like, what I love about sage is it's kind of laughing at us, right? Like, yeah, good luck trying to grow me. I'm not gonna grow for you. Okay, so tonight we're working with Kismet perfume. We're working with Lemurian quartz. Incredible, incredible, incredible Lemurian quartz. We're working with fulgurite and petrified wood. These are the stars of the show. Let me tell you about fulgurite. Fulgurite is what happens when lightning strikes sand. These are all from the Saharan desert. I bought them all from one person in one place. They are the real deal. And these are for manifestation. You work with fulgurite, you set an intention, and things happen. It's a very powerful manifestation stone. There are manifestation stones, like, you know, that, let's call them grade A and grade B. There are grade B manifestation stones that are important to have, like citrine and carnelian, and then there's grade A manifestation stones like fulgurite, zincite, stibnite, that are sort of the more like power tools for manifestation. This is a power tool for manifestation. Lemurian quartz we're working with tonight because, again, I'm connecting the dots for you. And if the legends about Lemuria are true, there's a lot to be learned about fate and destiny and what you're here to do in this lifetime, because I believe if Mu existed, we were all there together probably a couple of times. And the legend goes that when that civilization was going to be destroyed, that the priests and priestesses embedded all of their wisdom and knowledge into these Lemurian quartz points and buried them in 2 places on the planet. One in Minas Gerais, Brazil, which is where you find the bulk of Lemurian quartz points, and the other in Mount Shasta, California. And those are serious vortices of energy, those 2 places. These are from Minas Gerais, Brazil, and they come direct from there to you. So this is another, I would call it a power tool for understanding fate and destiny and why you're here. Does anybody feel like they totally understand why they're here? I'm still working on it. So if you've totally cracked the code on that, congratulations. You probably don't need to tune in for the rest of the 40 minutes that we have together. I do know people who feel like they've totally worked it out, and I think that's great. What I always warn people is just a little cautionary note there, because the universe has this way, just when you think you figured it out, what does the universe do? It spins your thread, you know, so it's like, oh, I thought I was going to be doing that my whole life, and then zing, I'm onto something else. So I'm very careful what I say to the universe, like, oh, I've got it all figured out. I mean, I'm not actually saying that. I'm not actually saying that. What I'm saying is I think a lot of us are on the right path, but we still have room Do you know what I mean? Room to grow. And what's interesting about Western civilization is sort of like, okay, I did all the things. I got the college degree, check. I found a partner and I got legally married and stuff, check. I have offspring, check. You know, you do all the things the right way. And then you get to a certain point and you look around and it's like, oh. Now what do I do? Yeah, and that's when the real learning begins, right? That's when the real learning begins. And what I like to tell people, especially women, because I find that women have a certain amount of depression that happens in the 30s and 40s, and what I like to tell women is my life didn't really begin until my mid-30s, I would say, really until after I had my kids, is when I started to feel like this wisdom was rising within me, and it almost took motherhood to push it through. So women who think like, oh, I've had kids and now what I say is the now what is like all the awesome stuff that's about to happen because you didn't know what you were doing before. At least that was my lived experience. So I'm glad that resonates with you. But if you're in your 30s and even your 40s and you feel like, you know, you don't know yet, I think that's so powerful. You don't have to know yet. If you're in your 50s, you don't know, you don't have to know. I have friends who are blooming and blossoming in their 50s and they're like, I would never go back to my 40s. So stay tuned. Life gets so much better. It really does. You have to believe that. Okay, so the three fates. Clotho is the spinner. The three fates are the spinner, the allotter, and the cutter. Okay, so the first one is spinning the wheel of the thread. Okay, and that's her whole job. The fates have these very defined roles that they play. So Clotho is the spinner. She's spinning. Pardon the ambulance. Sage Goddess is next to a fire station. And go ahead and laugh about that, because I do. I have no idea how much gets burned up here. I think they kind of know what's going on. Certain employees here like to watch certain employees there. I am not one of them. But they do mow the lawn over there without shirts on. That's all I'm saying. They do that. They do. I know. And we have a second floor here, and there are a lot of windows. That's all I'm saying. Back to serious business. So Clotho is the spinner. So she is spinning the thread. And she is the one who launches your thread. Okay, so this is the beginning of your life. And for our purposes tonight, she's holding the past. And Clotho is very much like Ceres, like the first harvest. The first harvest is behind us now. Do you know what I mean? But it's still important to think about. What were the first things that bloomed in your life this year? What were the first flowers? What were the first crops? If it's been a rough year for you, and let me tell you, 2015 has not been easy for many people. In fact, the early half of 2015 kicked a lot of behinds. Did it happen for you? I mean, where you were like, am I going to make it to the second half of 2015? It was hard for people. And a lot of people said it was the April, May full moons that they noticed was like this time of reconciliation. And then we've had all this retrograde. It went from Mercury to Venus, and now we're headed back into Mercury retrograde. I mean, it's just been this after another. So Clotho is the spinner, and that's the beginning of your web, okay? So Clotho takes you back to birth and all the way through to the first third of life. So however long you think that is. And then there is Lachesis, or Laxis, depending on how you pronounce it. She is the allotter. So she is the one so she takes the thread from Clothos, who's been spinning it, and she pulls it, okay? And that is the length of your life. She's not deciding the end of the thread. She's just pulling it out. And I think that's a very powerful place, and that's Curwidwin, because that length of your thread is your wisdom. That's the duration of your knowledge. That's the extent of your time. Do you know what I mean? And that thread is long. I mean, it takes you from your early adolescent days where, let's be honest, you don't know enough. You know enough to be slightly dangerous, okay, to yourself and others. But you don't know much. But you're weaving, you're planning, you're building a foundation in those years. It takes you through those middle years that for a lot of us, we get lost. We either get lost in a job, lost in a partner, or lost in having children. Do you know what I mean? We get lost somewhere in the 30s and 40s. And I'm talking about men and women. We all get lost. And a lot of us choose what we get lost in. We throw ourselves into college. We throw ourselves into relationship. We throw ourselves into having kids. Then you lift up your head in your 40s, whatever you got lost in, and you're like, oh, wait. I'm not as happy as I thought I would be. The thread keeps pulling, and now you're like, I'm going to take control of my life. If this is what there is to it, I'm going to start deciding how we play this game. And the thread gets pulled and pulled and pulled, and then in your 40s and 50s, you're summoning that wisdom, and you're realizing you don't have to impress anybody, because at the end of the day, they don't really care anyway. All those people you're trying to impress, they don't care. I hate to break it to you if you don't know that yet, but they don't care. So now it's about impressing yourself and making the most out of the time that you have. And then we get to Atropos, who is the cutter. Okay? And Atropos is Hecate. I mean, think about it. Atropos is the one who stands at the edge and makes the cut. And I don't know why I have like chills all over telling you that, but there is a cutter of the thread of your life. And the big message for me of the fates is you don't have forever. There's this Buddhist saying, and the translation of it is, you think you have time. And you don't have time. There's another meme that I've seen on Pinterest and Facebook and stuff, and it says, it's later than you think. It is later than you think. Atropos would tell you that. I'm telling you that tonight because it's a good heads up. It's later than you think. Okay? So as we go into our meditation, I want you to think about your pantheon. It's like choose your goddess. You know, if Ceres, Ceridwen, and Hecate are more comfortable for you because you've been working in that Celtic pagan pantheon and they're just more familiar faces, work with them tonight for past, present, future. The Greek pantheon is close to my heart, and I'm very committed to mythology, so I'm going to be working with the three, the spinner, the allotter, and the cutter tonight. And you can also use the maiden mother crone, if that works for you. They're the same faces. Do you know what I mean? The crone is telling you about the end. And she's trying to get you to build that wisdom of the end of life into the earlier phases. She's trying to teach the mother not to take it all so seriously. You know, your kids will grow, and then what? Right? That's the message of the crone. Okay? Everybody feel ready? Pick your goddess. Get your candle. If you don't have a candle, find a friend that has a candle. So good. The one thing I know for sure about magic is it's never as simple as it seems. Do you know? And I'm always one who's like, no, there's got to be more to it than that. And there is. So the candle that we're beginning with is the past. And I actually have the three fates on these candles. So if you're wondering what the images are, they are the three fates. We're going to go past, and then we're going to go present to the allotter, and then we're going to go future to the cutter. Sounds terrible, the cutter. I prefer the Greek words or the pagan faces of this. Okay? If you don't have a candle, light one in your mind. It's sort of like, did you know about quartz, that you can charge quartz as if? You can charge quartz as if it's any other stone. Magically. So, let's say you didn't have fulgurite, but you wished you had fulgurite. You can take your Lemurian quartz point, hold it. I usually do this with my right hand. Close your eyes, visualize in your mind. I almost like pixelate it. Take the image of it in your mind and transform it from the quartz to the fulgurite. Set the intention that you'll work with the stone in that way. Just remember to uncharge it, discharge it when you're done. But you can charge quartz to act as if. It's the only stone that can be charged to act as if any other stone. Yeah? So good. Who knew? Okay. Before we begin, I want to anoint with oil. Part of the reason, if you're new to me especially, part of the reason I work with oils is that your sense of smell is your oldest sense. It's adjacent to the oldest part of your brain that doesn't have a capacity for language. So that's why when you smell things, you don't know how to describe it. It's like, oh, it feels so, and you can't find a word. That's because that part of your brain doesn't have words, and it doesn't need to have words. But it can make you feel something. That part of your brain is connected to your sense of your sensuality. You're connected to your body in that way. It can take you back in time, it can take you future in time, and the spirits recognize scent in a very powerful way. So what I like to do with the perfume is actually anoint my candles with it. You can rub the oil onto your hands and then rub it onto your candle. I actually pour just a little bit on the top of the wax because then as you burn it, the scent gets diffused into the candles. So just be careful with my perfumes. They're not just perfumes. They are magical potions. So if you're not interested in talking or thinking about fate and destiny, Kismet might not be the right scent for you. Just like Hecate is not your daily perfume. People learn the hard way, using Hecate as their daily perfume. Okay. There's an interesting comment. Let me see if I can see it. Heather said, I was reading that ancient peoples had over 320 senses and we have 5 or 6. Well, that doesn't surprise me. We're not using our senses, my friends. And a lot of us, what I've noticed in my generation is so many people are on antidepressants and anti-anxiety medication that they barely have any senses anymore. Everybody's walking around like numb zombies. It's very hard. And a lot of people need those medications, so I never tell people to go off of those medications, but I am suggesting it's harder to be totally attuned and have an open third eye and be experiencing all of these things and receiving and channeling when you're numbed out. It's very hard. Okay, is tea tree okay? Potentially, tea tree is very strong. I would work with something more subtle tonight, maybe a sandalwood. An amber would be nice. Something a little more ancient, perhaps, because we're working with the older goddesses. What would have been around in the time of the fates and the moirae would have been scents like cypress, rose would have been around, myrrh and frankincense would have been around, rock rose or labdanum would have been around. Patchouli will help you. It's a little bit grounding, so your perfumes either ground you or uplift you. If you're trying to do third eye crown chakra work and you put patchouli on, and then you say, well, I had a hard time meditating. Like, I'm sure you feel very grounded, though. You don't get that like zing factor, but you're probably very in your body, which can be really good. Okay. Yeah, well, and one lovely person here said, I know my meds keep me from crying, and I need that release. And I see you tonight, and I honor that. I had postpartum depression, and I went on the medicines, and I needed to cry, so I went off the medicines. And I cried for a long time. So aho to acknowledging the emotions that we need to feel. Sending love to each of you tonight. Okay, so let's begin. So as we light these candles, what we're doing is we're calling in the energy. And so whether it's Clothos, who's the spinner, or we're connecting to Ceres, who's the maiden goddess of the harvest, as you light your past candle with me, in the room here, hopefully we have plenty of lighters. If not, pass a lighter to a friend if you need one. I have extras up here. Okay. While we're lighting, there's a question. What happens if you're overwhelmed by your senses? Well, they are overwhelming. What I love, though, is that part of what we do in this community, in addition to ritual, is we're very honest about how life is happening. We don't try to sugarcoat it or sweep it under the rug. And the more you deal with the depth and the breadth of your feelings and your emotions, the more you're going to heal. But I do a lot of work around the shadow, and we spent all of our life like pretending stuff isn't happening. Like, oh, that's not happening. And the people in my family have been doing that. It's like an art for them, pretending things aren't happening. Eventually that stuff comes up anyway. It's probably better to pull that stuff out from under the rug yourself and look at it. Just do it with a support network is my advice. Yeah, people who honor you and won't judge you. So we light the past. Yeah. Well, we did. I didn't open the circle. Do you know what? I think there's a reason I didn't open the circle. I opened it before we came into the room. How do you guys feel? I didn't technically open the circle. It is open because I opened it. I always open the circle before we open the circle. How do you feel? I feel really good, and I feel like there's a strong container. But if there's a request, I would do it. Everybody online says they feel good. Yeah. Okay, I feel good too. I would tell you if I didn't. But let me tell you, that's data for me. That's information for me. I think it's because the power of the goddesses that we're working with tonight, I have to tell you. That's just my intuition is why I didn't feel that call. Isn't that interesting? Hecate's like, Let's take a moment, though. We've got the candle lit. Continue to hold your candle. And I just want to thank the goddesses who are present in this circle for their presence, for holding the space and the containers safely. I feel like we're being held in a triangle as opposed to a square, which is usually the four directions that I call. Do you know what I mean? It's like we're sitting in the cauldron, or we're sitting in the triangle between Ceres and that motherly, maternal feeling, and Ceridwen, who's holding the wisdom, and Hecate, who's holding the veil. Yeah? So we are safely held in this container. We give thanks for the blessing of the protection and for keeping this container safe. And we acknowledge you, we thank you, and we honor you, so it is. So it is. Thank you, everybody. That was magical. So we begin with Ceres in the past, with Clothos the spinner, as we light the candle. Blessed be. Thank you, everybody. So you can look at your candle flame if that works for you. I find it very relaxing to look at a candle flame, or you can just close your eyes. Okay, whichever one works for you. So we call in the wisdom tonight first of Ceres and Clothos, of the spinner, of the maiden goddess of the first harvest. We call in the blessings of the first half of this year, but we also call in the blessings of the early phases of our life. Take us back to the past. We call upon you, the spinner of the thread of life, the guardian of the early harvest, the maiden spirit. And tonight we ask that you reveal to us, you show us one facet, one aspect of our life, the past before this moment. And I'm holding space. It could be something from the first half of this year or something from the first third of your life. And please take us to that moment, that space, whatever that is, that opportunity for us to reflect. Where do we still have work to do? What remains unresolved for us that still needs our attention? Isolate for us in this moment that one place, that one space, that one relationship. What needs our focus today? And give us a vision of this place, this experience, this relationship. Give us a vision of how this would look if we were able to make this right, if we were able to integrate the wisdom, able to act in accordance with your vision for this space you're taking us to. If this were resolved, how would it look? And so just for this moment, I'm going to call in your higher self, the higher self of anyone else who is involved in what you're being shown tonight. And we ask collectively as a group and also individually for each of us that this moment in the past, this experience, that it find resolution, not only for your highest good, but for the highest good of everyone involved. And to the fates and the goddesses, help us and guide us. Teach us to use this wisdom wisely. And take just 1 minute here to really be in this past moment. Crystallize that vision, make it as clear as you can. Feel your space there. How does your body feel? How does your spirit feel? If you're feeling moved to tears, What's happening within you right now? And as you've taken us to this space tonight, the goddesses and the fates, I ask that you create space for healing to happen. Let it not be too late for us to go back to this moment and integrate what we needed to learn and experience. And when you're ready, if you've got your candle lit, look at the flame of the candle. Set an intention that you will take this step, that you will create this healing, that you will follow through with this wisdom. If you didn't have a totally clear vision, ask that the fates and the goddesses come and bring that wisdom to you in dream state. But I think a lot of you probably did have a pretty clear vision, at least, of what it is. Make a commitment in this moment to carry that wisdom through, to take action based on what you've seen, and when you feel like you're ready and you have committed, you can blow out your candle. It was a heavy one for me. And there's a question, what if you've already been taking action but it's still not resolved? If it's coming up for you in this meditation, it's here for you to work with and heal. When I was creating this visualization for tonight and this set and all these tools and everything else, what I was told very clearly is it's one moment for each of you in each of these places that needs your attention. And that whatever that moment was, there was still space for you to go in and do the work. Do you know what I mean? Some things, the door is closed and the door is closed. And you have to accept that. That's part of the lesson of the fates. When the doors are closed, the doors are closed. If someone dies, they're gone. For now. And so that's part of the acceptance process of the harvest, is letting go of things that are gone. But in this moment, whatever this is for you, I think there's work to be done. Okay, so let's move to present. So as you light your candle, Ashley says, I need to listen. We all need to listen. It feels so freeing, though, to accept that we have work to do. You know? We all have work to do. Suzanne says, mine seem more like a pattern, not a single moment. And for many of us, it is a pattern. It happens in moments, but it's a pattern that keeps repeating itself, and that can happen across past, present, and future if you're not careful too. So as we acknowledge the present, this is Laxis, this is Kuridwen, this is the wisdom of your present life. What is it that you need to see? And so we call upon this fate and this goddess to connect with us here and to show us the wisdom of the present moment. And to isolate that place where the wisdom needs to come. What are you not seeing? And what continues to need your attention in this moment? This is the trickiest one in a way, because this is your blind spot. If you knew what it was right now, you'd fix it, I think. So what is your blind spot today? And again, you can either look at the flame or you can close your eyes, whatever is more comfortable for you. What is that place, that relationship, that dynamic, that situation at work, that it could be anything. Your health. I feel like it's health for a few people. What are you not seeing? What are you not willing to look at right now that needs your attention and needs your wisdom? And I'm intuiting that for a lot of people this is around fear right now. What are you afraid to look at? And the message that seems to be coming through is, just because you're afraid, that doesn't mean it doesn't exist. So you need to move past the fear. So we call in the energies of these goddesses, this fate, this goddess. And the divine, however you conceive of him or her or it, that life force energy, the one who created you. Calling in wisdom for our life today, for this moment. Where do we need to develop? What needs resolution? If it's your health, just do a quick scan of your body and call in this fate, this goddess, the divine. Call in your higher self to assist you there. Where in your body is there an issue that you need to address? If it's your relationship, what aren't you seeing? If it's a friendship, what do you need to know? If it's something that you have done to another, and I feel like there's a few of these where there's been like a karma or an imbalance, what wrong do you need to go back and right, and with whom? So we call in their guidance, we call in their energy, they call in their wisdom and their vision, support, nourishment, encouragement, clear sight tonight. May the messages be clear. Where do you need to shift? What needs to happen for you in this present moment? We give thanks for clear direction tonight. And again, take this moment to commit. What are you going to do? If it's your health, are you going to see a doctor? If it's a relationship, are you going to shift the pattern? If it's work, are you going to start doing what you love? If it's a phobia, if it's commitment, I'm seeing all the comments in the feed, it's the fear of trust. This is a powerful moment for you. If you can't nail it down, ask for guidance and what it needs to be. Anastasia says she's going to Athens Monday with or without her mom, but she could go with me. I can make myself available for that. Okay, so I'm holding space for each of you, whatever it might be. And when you're ready, look at the flame. Commit to taking action for your highest good. This is for you. This is for your highest good in this moment. What can you do to shift the present? What do you need to know? What needs to happen now? Make the commitment to it. And when you're ready, when you've said yes, this is to you and to the universe. You can blow out your candle. There's a lot of beauty in not engaging denial. I feel like there's a lot of bravery in the room, in the physical room, and a lot of bravery in the virtual room too. That takes guts, my friends. That takes guts. Yeah, that was a lot of smoke. That present candle had a lot of work to do. I think I have more issues in the present than maybe in the past. And we probably all do. We all think it's in the past, like what happened in our childhood and all this stuff. No, you've got enough stuff in the present. You don't need to worry about that so much. Okay. Interesting, because there are two people who are saying they're seeing three things. And that's okay. If it's not just one, if they're leading you to three different situations, go with the wisdom. Don't question it, yeah? Future? Anyone? I'm ready. I hesitated for a minute. Did you see that? Into the future we go. Into the future we go. Aw, that was very sweet. Sweet comments. Well, I see you guys, and I honor you. This is hard work, and I do this with you, not just up here putting on a show. I'm doing the work. It's hard. Okay? The future. So this is the last of the goddesses, the heaviest of the goddesses, Atropos and Hecate. These are the ones who stand at the gate. And this is about your legacy. This is about the end. And not going to the end in terms of a place of fear, but going to the end to pull that wisdom forward into your life now, to give you perspective. So, what is it about your future that you need to know and have clarity about now in order to live fully into this moment? And the one thing I want to tell you, the lesson of the fates for the future is you don't have to know it all. You don't control much. If you think you do, you don't. The concept of fate is across every spiritual tradition. Do you know that? This idea that it's already decided. Now we, as humans with an ego, we want to be like, oh no, like I have free will, and you do have free will. But there's an element of all of it that's already been woven for you. And that, to me, is the beauty, because it means I don't have to constantly be in the driver's seat. I can get in the passenger seat and let the universe drive a little bit. It goes better when I do that. Have you noticed? People are seeing an orb. I don't see it, but I love it. I want an orb. Oh, I guess it's right here. There it is. I do see the orb. Love orbs. Okay. It's very powerful. Like I said, the energy that's in this room and that's in holding our circle tonight, I feel really blessed because it feels bigger than anything I could have opened myself. But you know, the magic happens through us. It's not us doing it, right? So we're held by a bigger power. So cool. Okay, so into the future we go. What is it? So we call upon this fate and this goddess to show us the wisdom of what is ahead. What is ahead? And what is it that we can bring into this moment to have greater peace and clarity? What is it that if you knew, you would sit differently in this moment now? Alternatively, what is it that you can surrender now so that you're not worried so much? What can you release tonight? So we ask for wisdom, clarity, and guidance, especially for clarity. What is it? What is that future place, experience, relationship? The question that keeps coming to me is, what are you trying too hard to create versus what's trying to create itself through you? That feels important for people tonight. So we call upon the wisdom of Hecate and Atropos tonight. We call upon the divine, your higher self, all of your guides and guardian angels to surround you and give you the wisdom that you need tonight to have clarity. Not about today, but about tomorrow and into the last third of your life. If it's a pattern that's been happening for you, can you commit to letting go of that pattern tonight? And a lot of questions coming up around fear. So if it's a fear that you're holding, can you really commit to releasing that fear tonight? It's holding you back. It could be connected to your physical healing as well. If you're living for other people, maybe you start living for you tonight. That would be a great commitment to make. Maybe the only person's approval that you need is yours. Wouldn't that be freeing? So when you feel ready to commit to living fearlessly, or living in support of yourself, or living for yourself, or releasing fear, or old family patterns, or letting go of illness. Maybe that's not serving you. Maybe it used to serve you. It doesn't serve you anymore. When you're ready, when you have faith, Lisa says, and make the commitment to that this evening. And for this one, I feel like you won't fully know what it is. This is the future. It has not happened yet. So part of it is also trusting that there's a greater power that works through you and surrendering to that tonight. I need you to know that as well. Okay? When you're ready, you can go ahead and blow out the candle. I'm hesitating again. It's very sweet, Rebecca. She was saying that Maui worked wonders on me, that I seem good tonight. You have to go to healing places in your life. It requires travel, but you got to go do it sometimes. Sometimes you have to get out of your comfort zone a little bit, you know? So if you felt teary, let the tears flow. Tears are always trying to heal you. That's all tears do, is heal you. So if you feel like you need to cry, let the tears come. If you feel like you can't cry, that's okay. But at least giving yourself permission to cry sometimes is the best thing that you can do for yourself. Don't try to hold back tears. If it makes you uncomfortable, that's something from your childhood, but you need to allow yourself to cry as a grown-up. It's very important. And then you'll teach little ones to be comfortable crying too if you do that. Yeah. So let's take a deep cleansing breath together. We've done a lot of work just now. So roll your shoulders back. When you're ready, go ahead and inhale. Hold it and exhale. So notice how you feel in your body. So this evening is really about reaching back into history before history. And pulling up wisdom from so many places. The energies that we're calling up tonight and the traditions that we're drawing upon tonight are older than time. And there's something so beautiful about oh, I've got robot voice again. This was so weird. We're working on it. I don't know what to say. I want to go back to my orb. I'll keep talking because I think it'll come back in just a minute. Yeah, the goddesses aren't. Somebody said her voice sounds older than time right now. That's really funny. But what is beautiful in my soul work in the world is to bring you back to these places, to bring you back to this wisdom. There's a lot of power in acknowledging all of these connections, and for you to think about your life in this way, because it's a beautiful dance. It's all of these energies. Someone, some force, however you think of God, spun the thread of your life, and another force pulled the thread of your life, and a final force will cut the thread of your life. And one of the things, the medicine of Hawaii for me, I got married in Hawaii, so it's a very sacred place to me. I got married on a burial ground there, and I returned to that spot this past week. And part of the medicine of Hawaii, did you know, the Hawaiian island chain is dying. There's a process called subduction, and every year the Hawaiian island chain moves 3.5 inches north and west, and when it reaches off the coast of Japan, it'll go through subduction, which it gets pulled down into the core of the earth. And that will take about 100,000 years from now. The Hawaiian island chain will be all that way far north, and it will get pulled down into the center of the earth, and new islands are forming behind it. So that even part of the medicine of that trip was everything's dying. Do you know what I mean? Can you learn to enjoy now? I mean, you can look around and say, oh, that's so sad, and it won't be here, and it's like, yes, and you won't be here either. Can you be really happy right now? That's what, you have to look for places in your life that are always reminding you that this moment is so sweet and it's so good. And even if you're in pain and you're sad and your life, you're in a challenging place right now, that's going to shift. That is the nature of the universe. It will shift. So nothing is permanent. Your pain is not permanent. Your joy is not permanent. So can you learn to find what's good about this moment right now? So So coming back, I want you to think about, again, this portal of time. This next 3 weeks is really important for you. Think about it as the opening of this door between, literally between summer and fall, but it's also this door between what happened in the first half of this year and what's going to happen in the back half of this year. Our full moon in September will be for the oracle. And so the tools, I had special quartz spheres faceted for, I've never had these before. Do you see how it's faceted? These are quartz. This is not glass. Looks like a disco ball, but they're these faceted. Aren't they beautiful? They're hand faceted quartz spheres. So this is the only stone in the set, but it's a really magical stone. So the oracle is where we're going. My very talented graphic designer created that image for the oracle. So this is Pythia. She was the first oracle at Delphi. And we have, 2 perfumes. I made 2 because I loved them both so much. I wanted them both to be in the set. One is called Oracle and one is called Trance. So we are going to go into a trance state next month. I'm going to drum you into trance because that's what they used to do in the old times. And then we're going to go visit the Oracle herself. And Oracle, I'm going to pass it around. Sorry, wish you were here, but Oracle is my new favorite perfume, so I want everybody to smell it. The drum trance is going to be very powerful. So I will take you into a deeper state of meditation next month than I have taken you to before. Here's the homework, okay? You have homework. I used to be a teacher. What I was told about this meditation for next month, I've never done an oracle meditation before. Every month is different. And like I said, you can go back and watch the 3.5 years of archives. We've done prosperity meditations, abundance, love, soulmate, soul path, soul purpose. We've done it all. I was told you can bring 1 wish and 1 question to the oracle next month. Are you ready? 1 wish, 1 question. That's all. Don't bring 3. So this is the September kit. If you're in the Pentacle program, please do not buy the set because it comes to you automatically as part of your membership. But if you're not in Pentacle, you can go and purchase it. It's actually in the shop right now. There is a code, Full Moon 11. Full Moon 11 will save you 11% on the set right now if you want it. Okay. Do you have any questions? Any questions in the room or any questions online? Everybody's excited. 1 question, 1 wish. Don't push your luck. Everybody always says that. I have 2 wishes and 3 questions. Can I do that? No. You know what's funny? Oh, yeah, go ahead.
With the 3 candles,
yeah.
So moving forward, how would you use them? Like, do you do them all at the same time? Do you do 1 per day? What do you recommend? I mean, I know there's no wrong way, but what would be a...
So the question was, how do you use the 3 candles going forward? Bless you. There is no wrong way to use the tools. What I would do is I would keep them separate and use them separately. I would encourage you, if you have these candles, to burn them down. Okay, so keep them and work with them until they're gone. And I would go back and either redo this particular meditation or separately do work around the past, the present, and the future. They hold the essence of those energies. If you're going back and you're doing healing work on the past, which, I mean, I am in my life, I'm doing a lot of work around my maternal relationship. And trying to heal that forward into my own mothering relationship. If you are doing very specific work around the past, this is the candle for you to do that work with. And you can light the candle, you can go into meditation, or you can just sit and call in healing energies for the situation. If it's a person you're working with, call in their higher self, call in your higher self, and let the candle burn while you focus energies. And be careful to keep your focus on what it is you want to create in that dynamic. Healing, compassion, love, resolution, surrender, release, letting go, you know what I mean, versus what you don't want to experience anymore, frustration and all of those things. Same thing with the present. If there's a situation that's bothering you and you need to create healing around it, take that candle, again, focus solely there with that candle and call in what it is you want to experience. So if your message tonight was clear that it's about your relationship or it's about work or it's about your health, I really felt like for a lot of people it was about health tonight. There were a lot of heads up around health, and I could see it in the feed too, that people were saying, like, I need to go get myself checked out. If you're feeling fear and anxiety around that, you can burn that candle And it will help, because it's holding space for you to do what you need to do right now for healing and for surrender and compassion and all those things. Yeah, I could really feel the health. You guys in the feed are saying it's true for you, and I could feel that was a lot for the group. The past felt like relationship to me. I'm thinking about the collective, everybody who's here and online. The past felt like it was around relationship. The present felt like it was around health. And then the future felt like it was all over the place. But there's a lot of fear, and a lot of people here who are trying to be brave and move forward without fear, because you realize it's not serving you. And I think that's really courageous. And then the key is, and that's why I made the Facebook groups, like the Full Moon group, because people there can continue to support you, me too, as you do the work. Because it's like one thing when you're here and it's this month and you're doing it right now and you're all ready to do it, and then you go home and you're dumped right back into the same circumstances, right? And it's like, well, how do I maintain that when the ritual's over? So that's why we're almost like a support community for each other. So Belladonna says, how do I get rid of enemies and bring positive people and into my life? Well, that's a really big question. There are a lot of answers to kind of removing negativity from your life. You can do simple meditations. Actually, if you check out my blog, I wrote one about bubbling your energy, which is really important, especially if you're an energy worker or a light worker. If you do any kind of healing work with people, you need to learn how to bubble your energy. You can use stones. Shungite is a stone, it's an energy shield, so it purifies energies around you. You can call in protection from your guides to surround you. But at the end of the day, what you need to do, and this is for everybody, focus on what you want to experience. Healthier, positive relationships, people who are bringing love and light into your life. The more you focus on what you want to create, the less energetic space there will be for what you don't want to experience. And I've really found that to be the case. And as you get older, too, what I've realized is if someone's bringing negative energy into my life, then I'm all done with that person. You know what I mean? Like, I used to feel bad about that or try and make it work or keep, and that was in my 20s and 30s. Now I'm like, nope, bye, bye, Felicia. But no, I mean, who has time for that? And honestly, and people who want to bring that stuff are very attracted to people who are trying to do just the opposite. So you have to realize there's nothing wrong with you, but you also don't have to tolerate it. You are the keeper of your space, and by your space, I mean your life, and those are your rules. And if negativity is not allowed, then you declare it today, and I promise you, it will stop coming your way. But you have to declare it, and you have to hold that boundary very tightly. Yeah. Only the Leo Queen would bust out, "Bye, Felicia." I'm not kidding, though. That is what one of my mantras is, who does that? Like, what is wrong with people? Bye-bye.
What's on the coffee mug you got?
Oh, my coffee mug says I can't even. Can't even with that. But all jokes aside, you have to decide what's okay for your life. And I want to empower you to think that way. You decide what's okay in your life. This is your life. At the end of the day, it's you. Nobody's going to protect you. Nobody's going to save you. Nobody's going to fix it. It's you. But you have the ability to do all that. You don't need anybody to come rescue you. So on that note, I'm going robot again, so maybe we're all done. It's a sign from Hecate. I want to thank the goddesses who came and held our circle safely tonight and release them from their service to the circle. I do believe they held a beautiful container, so I'm very grateful to Ceres, Cerridwen, and to Hecate, and to the three faiths who were with us, Clothos, Lexis, and Atropos. And to all of you who were present with me, I'm very grateful for you. I hope this was a blessing for you tonight, a learning experience, a time for reflection. This is the season for all of that work. So enjoy the full moon. You now have 24 hours of her light to enjoy. Put your stones out under her, enjoy her, receive the fullness. Remember that the full moon is about gratitude. So now's the time to be thankful for what's come into your life. Focus on what you love. More will come your way. And I will see you next month, everybody. Take care. See you soon. Yay!